So I'm currently reading How Minds Change by David McRaney, who did You Are Not So Smart. And I'm so excited about this book. I just want to respond to something. I'm absolutely thrilled about what he's going to say in this book. I'm only on page 6 now. I've often said that the only thing that should change our mind is evidence, and it's kind of the only thing that doesn't. And that makes sense. I didn't realize that that made sense when I used to say it, but that makes sense. Why would we have evolved to be responsive to evidence? Evidence more than just like, oh, look, truth, Oh, is there a tree there? Oh, look, there's a tree there. Okay, so that evidence is going to be pretty compelling. We did evolve to be compelled by that kind of evidence. But the more complicated the evidence gets, the less likely we are going to be compelled by it. So this guy, Charlie Veit, or I don't actually know how to pronounce his name, he used to be a big 9/11 truther. And so, that 9/11 was a conspiracy. He was known in the movement. And then he participated in this BBC series that wanted to have conspiracy theorists talk to experts about the thing that they thought there was a conspiracy for. So in this case, it's 9/11. And so Charlie learns that, for instance, the buildings didn't fall perfectly into their footprints, as would be the case with a controlled demolition. A lot of 9/11 truthers, they say, oh, well then how come the building fell like that? That it only should fall like that if it's controlled demolition. So then this expert explained, well, they didn't fall like a controlled demolition. They didn't fall into the building's footprints. It blew the debris outward, he explained, not into the building's footprints. Then Charlie asked, and you've probably heard this one, but if it was only jet fuel and not explosives, and jet fuel doesn't burn hot enough to melt steel beams, how could the buildings have collapsed? And then Blanchard explains that the steel skeleton didn't need to melt. The heat from the jet fuel just needed to have them bend a little bit. And then there's these enormous forces from above, right, from the building. The beams only needed to bend just the slightest bit. Once bent, they couldn't support the entire weight of the building above them and would continue to bend even farther past the point where they could support the enormous forces pressing down. Okay. And so then the author, McRaney, tells us, that, that Charlie had all this evidence, right? Oh, all of this suddenly, then bang, Charlie said, describing his realization. The flight school, the blueprints, the architecture firm, the demolition experts, it had all chipped away at his certainty. And when I read that, that surprised me, because that evidence was sort of out there, and these truthers are supposed to be so good at doing their own research. So why was it that then when he talked to these people, all of a sudden his certainty was, something chipped away at his certainty? It exposed the possibility that he might be wrong, but it was the grieving family members that confirmed it. I mean, I want to see what McRaney says in the book, but not that the book is about Charlie, but I don't know that it was the grieving family members that confirmed it. I think that the grieving family members exposed the possibility that he might be wrong, and then the evidence confirmed it. Listen to this paragraph. But back at the hotel, Charlie was surprised to learn that his epiphany was his alone. The others told him that Hoagland had been brainwashed by the FBI. Hoagland was, she had lost her son. She was a mom who lost her son when his flight, which was hijacked, landed in Pennsylvania. Crashed in Pennsylvania. The others told him that Hoagland had been brainwashed by the FBI, or worse yet, she was an actress hired by the BBC to trick them all with her crocodile tears. It shocked Charlie, who had held Hoagland while she sobbed. He said he began hating his companions, thinking, you fucking animals, you disgusting fucking animals. He goes on to say, we're not gullible, Charlie said. We're truth seekers in a 9/11 truth movement, just trying to find out the truth about what happened. The mind boggles. This reality, this universe is truly one of smokescreens. It isn't. It's just that the brain doesn't see the world by any means clearly. So the smokescreens are actually here, really. This reality, this universe is truly one of smokescreens, illusions, and wrong paths. But also the right path, which is always be committed to the truth. Probably not a possible brain state, but it is a possible sort of value to have, an ambition to have. Do not hold on to religious dogma. If you are presented with new evidence, take it on, even if it contradicts what you or your group might be believing or wanting to believe. You have to give the truth the greatest respect, and I do. That's what Charlie said. And I think that's noble of him. And, I also would love to, I also would say something like this, that I give the truth the greatest respect. But that's not really quite how the brain works. But again, it's a good ambition to have. The other thing that I used to often say, besides what I started the video with, which is that evidence is the only thing that should change your mind. It's kind of the only thing that doesn't. The other thing I used to say is that, anytime someone expresses certainty to me, I can't really take them seriously because there isn't enough evidence in the world to justify certainty. I have to modify the quote because, I was saying this in high school. I would say that, but there is enough sort of emotion and need or desire to create certainty. You can never have enough evidence to be 100% certain about something. But you can feel compelled by things other than evidence into a state of certainty. And it's actually not about emotion. It can just be erroneous interpretive mechanisms can trigger certainty prematurely. So that's it. I think that holding that sobbing mom who had lost her son, I think that sort of short-circuited certain interpretive mechanisms that had been holding on to evidence about the conspiracy. And then, well, anyway, we'll leave it. And then when he saw that kind of...
How are we doing?
We're good.